Hi, everybody. Just waiting on anybody to join chat today. And I'll just kind of I'll get started. Hey, we have 2 people joined up. Hi. I have to figure out who we are, who's here today. Oh, we got 3 in today. Excellent. Well, you guys will be happy to know that I'm making different styles of mules today. I think that's going to be super fun. I think one of the most important things about mules, especially right now, is that it's so hot outside, and they are one of the most refreshing drinks you actually have. I think they are spectacular on their own. Just a basic mule, which is going to be vodka, lime juice, and ginger beer. Leslie, would you grab the ginger beer from the fridge? Great. I might need a can opener with it too. Ginger beers can range in terms of sweetness and spiciness. It turns out that Moscow Mule gets its name from, I think Moscow everybody gets with the idea that it's going to be vodka, or what we associate with Russia. But the mule is one that not a lot of people know. I may have to go over this again once people enter in. But the mule itself comes from the idea that ginger beer, its flavor is supposed to kick like a mule. So that's why you have the idea of the Moscow Mule. Now, most of the times you will see this, the copper mug. What it really does is kind of hangs on to the coldness. And if it was full copper, it would actually react sort of with the herbs that might be in the gin that we're going to use, or the lime juice, or a little bit bitters. But you see, these are stainless steel. They're easier to maintain, easier to clean. I think most of the time now these are for the look. In fact, when I had worked at bars, oftentimes because mule mugs can be so expensive, and you notice they can come in different sizes, different shapes. Some of them look hammered, but they were so expensive that we would have to take the IDs of the patrons because so many would be stolen that it wasn't worth it for us to buy them. So just the mug itself has been iconic. When these kind of first surfaced, I don't know. I think they were popular 10 years ago. I was like, oh, this is a fad. This is not going to last. Bars aren't going to keep these products in, and for sure they did. So I'm going to make some great ones for variations today, and the possibilities really are limitless as long as the product actually pairs quite well with ginger beer.
Robin says your challenge is to convince her to like mules.
Oh, that is a tough one. So Robin, I think part of the reason I don't know if you were in when we talked about why they're called Moscow Mules, and it's because the flavor of ginger beer kicks like a mule. I think the number one thing we would have to do, I guess I had a question for you, and that would be, do you like ginger in anything? Do you put ginger on sushi? Do you put ginger in your stir fries? Do you like ginger snap cookies? See, if the answer is no to all 3 of those, the base ingredient for a mule is going to be the ginger beer, and I don't know if you're ever going to like it. I suppose you could probably do it with ginger ale, but remember, ginger ale drinks a little bit more like a sugary soda than ginger beer, which has like the snap and the bite of ginger. So that would be one of the first questions I'd ask. Has she answered that one?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. So the first one, there's actually a couple different methods to making mules. We would have to make these super fast. One of the things I love to have around is crushed ice. I got this from my buddies at Sonic, and crushed ice for drinks like this, they can melt. It's totally fine. They hold up. It just keeps it very, very cold. Lots of surface area for the ice to mingle in with the ginger beer.
Robin says she likes it, but not when it's overpowering, but she's willing to trust you.
Okay. So if you don't like it being overpowered, one of the products that I don't have here today, there's a product that we sell on Spirits and Spice, and I usually tell people that I'm an online concierge or the personal concierge for Spirits and Spice, but mainly the people who joined here are people that we know of today. But if you don't know, I'm the concierge for Spirits and Spice. I love to help people with recipes. I love to develop drinks. I really am Epicurean style, so I really appreciate you coming by today. So some of the products that we have today are going to be the Spirits and Spice vodka. This is actually a winter wheat and apple vodka. Instead of just being plain or having the aroma of alcohol only, it actually has a little bit of sweetness in the back end, which is quite nice. We have Piedmont gin. This gin is from the Southern Alps in Italy, and it's not overbearing in terms of juniper or any of the other herbs. It's balanced. and it's going to be incredibly refreshing in a mule. And then Kentucky Mule or Bourbon Mule, Cowboy Mule, if you will, since we have a store in Jackson. Our American Bourbon, which has a wonderful flavor, a great corn sweetness, just enough bite. We also are featuring Hella Bitters. Funny name, Hella Bitters. There's a citrus bitters. If you guys can see that. There's the aromatic bitters. So if you're familiar with Angostura, this aromatic like Angostura, that's going to be for the classic mule. And then orange bitters. So I haven't decided for my gin mule and the bourbon mule whether I want to use orange or citrus bitters yet. There's also a chili one, infused one in here, and then I believe there's a ginger, but I think we have enough ginger for today. So those are some of the products. I actually grabbed Fever Tree because they're well known. They use high quality ingredients, but there's lots of local ginger beers. So that's another thing, Robin, you might do if you're willing to try. If somebody else in the family likes them. Is buy some different ginger beers because some might be too sweet for you, some might be too sharp, some are pretty good. At any rate, I was telling you one I think that you might like fairly well, and that's going to be one that we're calling the Jackson Mule. Jackson is famous for huckleberries, and the Grand Teton has a distillery up there, and they have a huckleberry vodka. We're actually going to mix that with some of our blackcurrant liqueur, and that should tone down and balance some of the ginger in the ginger beer. I don't have that one for today, but be looking for that one because that one might be one you like. Also, I think that in general, a lot of people don't have the taste or flavor profile for bitter, but bitters are really complementing. They really are complementing the spirit right now. If you just have sweet and sour, it oftentimes misses something. Just 1 or 2 drops of bitters can really, really help and can really help balance that product. Okay, so notice I have 2 different sizes of mules. That's going to also vary the amount of alcohol I put in them. In the smaller mule, I'm going to do a standard bar pour, which is 1.5 ounces. In the larger one, which you would sit and drink for a while, is going to be 2 ounces. So first things first, we're going to make the classic mule. It really is very simple. It's crushed ice. You always put the alcohol in. I'll tell you why in just a second. Then it's going to be the ginger beer and the lime juice. And, sometimes I put the lime in first. Sometimes I put the ginger beer in first. So always put the booze in first. Reason being, I can't tell you, I've served a fair number of drinks at a bar where I forgot to put the booze in.
Rick says he loves ginger beer and Moscow Mules, and he knows you're going to take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've got some crushed ice here, and I'm hoping I can do this without spilling too much of it. I'm going to do the larger one first. Again, if you were a mule purist here, you'd say, oh, but it's not a full copper mug, so you can't get the experience. You're kind of right. I've had them both ways, but mainly I'm just doing it for it to be refreshing. So ice is going to go in. If I spill a little bit, oh well. Now I'm going to fill the ice just to the top, and then when you serve it, you're actually going to make the drink a little bit. You can pile on ice a little bit more, and it looks great. And you can put a little mint leaf on there if you want. We're going to garnish it as well. So first thing I said was to always put the booze in there. So we're going to start with the Spirits and Spice Winter Wheat and Apple vodka, and this one we're going to do 2 ounces. I'm going to show you my pour here in just a second. I actually like to use these pours because they just tell you how much is in the measurement instead of having to use a jigger. I mean, there are fancy people who can manipulate the jiggers and things like that, but we used to pour at the bar I worked at very, very expensive whiskeys, and you didn't want to spill any over the edge, and you wanted to have the exact amount because those portions were really, really calculated. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the ginger beer. Now, you know what I'll do is I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice, maybe 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Again, Robin, that's something that you could play with a little bit more, is the amount of lime juice that you do. So I'm just pouring the lime juice in there. Awesome. Ginger beer. Love that sound. That sound makes Leslie want to drink soda. Let it fizz up a little bit. So, underestimated tools, a bar spoon. Bar spoons are great for stirring. You get to put your finger in here, you kind of cinch it around, and you can end up stirring the product around. They're really, really good because they can reach down into thin glassware and things like that too. The other thing that you can do, I'm going to put a couple dashes of bitters in there, the aromatic bitters. I feel like that complements that sharpness of the ginger beer. I wonder if I should make Leslie try this on camera. That would actually be entertaining. She's saying no, so I'm going to try it for you. I'm just going to do a couple dashes. It didn't need much at all. First of all, these are actually high in alcohol. But second of all, they pack a real punch and flavor. So you saw me stir it a second ago. The other thing that we would do at the bar very quickly is we would transfer. We transfer like so, and that it incorporates the product. So I've got the lime juice mixed up in there, the vodka mixed up in there, the bitters mixed up in there, and the ginger beer mixed up in there without it. You know, if you try to shake it in a cocktail shaker, which I have done before, it actually ends up exploding. When I was training a bartender for the first time, he actually shook the cocktail the wrong way, and it threw the drink all over the customer. It was a customer service nightmare. Awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pile this with a little bit more ice. I may have to use refrigerator ice for my third drink. I can see that I already don't have enough. So I'm going to pile in the ice. I'm going to garnish with lime. I try to garnish with the, and oftentimes it's hilarious that we tell customers that garnish is oftentimes more for the server than it is for the customer themselves. So that's why you'll sometimes see just little thin pieces. It's also a great way to save money, but it's so that the bartender knows how to deliver it. So I'm going to try this winter wheat and apple vodka from Spirits and Spice. We have the Hella aromatic bitters, lime juice, and Fever Tree ginger beer. It's, like I said, the ginger adds the sharpness. You catch that right away. You get bubbly, refreshing, cold. If you guys can, I don't know if you can see the mug is like frosting up already. I can imagine sitting on a patio, you know, with those little bit of misters going on, and you just have to sit there. You drink your drink and you have a conversation with your friends, and you put your hands around this when you're getting warm. So it'll cool you down. So that's drink number one. Okay, questions on that from anyone so far? I know I tend to go kind of fast.
No questions yet.
No questions. Somebody's gonna ask me something crazy. Okay, I'm gonna clean up my station a little bit.
If I wanted to get these products, how could I do that?
If you want to get these products, you're gonna go to spiritsandspice.com. If you're available during the week, you're probably chatting with me. All right, and these recipes are oftentimes included in there as well. We're kind of a one-stop shop. I love being able to do that. Okay, so the second one, my ice is getting a little bit watery, but I'm going to do the gin mule because this also increases the herbal notes. So the difference between this and a vodka mule is really the vodka isn't imparting any extra flavor other than if you're really, really a taste junkie, you can maybe taste some sweetness from it. But the second one is meant to improve and complement the flavors of the ginger beer.
Robin asked what bitter did you end up using on that last one?
I used the aromatic bitters. I wanted to do the classic one. So if you have the bottle with the white wrapper around it, the Angostura bitters, that's what that one resembles. Leslie, would you mind grabbing me some ice? Thank you so much. Cool. Tell me to, cool. Get it? Cool. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so the second one, Piedmont gin. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Piedmont gin from the Southern Alps. This has a very mellow flavor gin. If you are not a fan of gin, I think that this is a great one for you to try right off the bat. Most people, you know, I don't know why it is in America, but like the gin companies that we have now lately, because we said that gin has to taste like juniper or it has to have juniper in its product, that they just go over the top. But I feel like people in history liked this product because it was well balanced with the other herbs. I know I keep talking about the well balanced, but it's actually important when you talk about why you like your drinks. So I find the Piedmont gin, I could drink it by itself or just a little bit of lemon or lime and it would be fine. So this one I'm only going to do 1.5 ounces.
Wanda says, "Show me Moscow Mules, please."
Hi, Mom. I know people say that all the time. So this is Piedmont gin. I'm just going to smell it. I have the habit of doing that, but this one actually has a very citrusy aroma, and it does not overpower me with juniper at all. I don't feel like I'm drinking a pine tree when I drink this. That's going to be really, really good. Now, generally speaking, I'm going to do a little bit of lime juice in here. I could do lemon and lime for fun. Should I do that? Yes. Okay. This one I might have Leslie try. She keeps shaking her head, but I really want it. We're going to take a poll right now. If there's 6 people watching, if at least 4 people say she should try it, she's going to try it.
No.
Ice pick. So how many yeses do we have?
2.
Oh, come on. We can get 2 more and then Leslie's going to try it.
You said 6.
No, I said there's 6 people watching. If 4 people said it, she's going to try it.
Robin's trying to get 2 votes.
Come on.
So you've got 3.
Okay. 1 more and Leslie's going to try this on camera.
No, you said 6.
No, there were 6 people watching. Okay. So this for fun, I think what I'm going to do is kick up the citrus in it, and I'm going to add the citrus bitters. Then I'm going to add ginger beer. Now this one's interesting, Robin. You may actually like this because the ice had a chance to melt. I don't actually have to overload it with ginger beer. So it might be less fizzy, but it will be less strong in the ginger beer flavor as well. So I'm going to do our cool spirits and spice glass. I'm going to transfer. Did we get a 4th one? We did. I know we did.
I'm not getting on camera though.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're not getting on camera, you actually.
Charlie Brown.
Thank you, Charlie. Actually, at least have to say something. So I would have garnished this one with a lime, but I just used my lime from lime juice. So, what do you know? I have a lime here. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay. There's her hand. Okay.
That's actually very good.
Okay, she didn't actually do the face, so Robin, this one might be one for you. If anything, that is a trick that I just thought of just now off the cuff because that's what I do. But if you're not a huge fan of ginger beer, get club soda and do it half and half. That way you get the essence of what that mule is without being overwhelmed by the ginger beer and sometimes the sugar.
Robin's jealous I got to try it.
Okay, I'm trying it too. I totally sterilized the Moscow Mule mug before I'm trying this. I mean, I swapped spit with her, so. Okay. Oh, that's actually really good. That gin is really good. Come on, people.
I'm excited to try the next one too, actually.
You are?
A little bit, because it's so different.
It is different. So I have a fair number of recipes we can actually do with them. That was actually very good. Okay, so now, you guys, I'm a nerdy gamer. My nephew said, don't waste any of this today because I only have 2 Moscow Mule mugs. Let's get a 3rd. So what I'm going to do is take the first one, which is the vodka one. I'm going to take the second one, which is the gin one.
Sacrilege.
And I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this to our gaming. So if you guys don't know, I'm a nerdy D&D gamer, and this is going to be a great cocktail tonight. Okay, so mule number 3. There we go. Quick rinse. This guy is going to be a bourbon mule, and if you guys haven't tried the Spirits and Spice rye whiskey or the Spirits and Spice American bourbon, they are products that, again, I'm going to go back to this, but they're well balanced. They're well balanced because they don't crush you with alcohol where it's going to take your breath away. It's not like licking the inside of a charred oak barrel. They are meant to be sippers. They can be enjoyed on their own. But for our purposes, we're going to do this as a mule. Now, what I'm curious for Leslie to tell me is if it actually makes a difference that we're going to do the ice that we have just from our fridge, or if it matters that it was the crushed ice from our buddies at Sonic. Okay.
Robin asked, so this might be a silly question, but won't the ice dilute it?
Yes, it does.
The one you just poured into the jar.
Absolutely. So your son doesn't care. Yeah. All right, so a little bit of ice. Always do the booze first, and that's going to be the American bourbon. There's a little bit of mystery behind our American bourbon. The gentleman who came up with it, Nick at Yahara Bay, now I think it's done by his protege, actually takes 2 bottles of Kentucky bourbon and they blend them up there and then they hold them and age them a little bit in Madison, Wisconsin. We have people who will buy this just because they want to try and see if they can discern which 2 distilleries they come from. I have my suspicions on one, but I'm not an amazing, taster in that sense, so I don't know. Again, I'm using a smaller Mule mug, so I'm only doing 1.5 ounces. I don't want to see Leslie schnockered before. It actually smells good. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Hope so. Booze first. I know people who actually do the booze before they even put the ice in, because I've seen it to where you pour it and then the alcohol pours out over the sides. So this one, I'm going to do orange bitters. A couple drops of that. And so, guys, when you see a package like this, I don't even know if these are 4-ounce containers, but if you see a package like this, and these hella bitters, you go, oh man, that's not very big. But seriously, when you're doing them tiny, tiny drops at a time, this can last you a year or longer. And you can experiment with so many different kinds of cocktails. So I'm going to put lemon juice in there. I've seen this done with orange juice as well. And again, if you want to increase the amount of juice, that reduces the amount of ginger beer that you actually have to have. I'm going to have to open a second fever tree. It'd be interesting. I was just thinking of my mom and how much I'd love to troll her for liking Zima, but it'd be interesting to do half ginger beer, half Zima. If you guys don't know, in today's day and age, the Trulies and the White Claws and all that really are just flavored Zimas. All right, so this one has American bourbon, lemon juice, orange bitters. You could easily do citrus bitters. You could easily do the aromatic bitters. If this was a smokier bourbon, like the ones that really have some char, you could actually do the chili bitters from the hell bitters. That would be really good. Okay, so I'm going to transfer this. Top it off a little bit more ice. Now I have a fancy garnish. All you have to do is you can cut a thin slice of lemon and you can twist it and serve it. And that looks fair. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. I'm going to dump it otherwise. Now Leslie's going to try. Let's see her hand come through. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear that or not. Okay. She gave the squinty eye face, which means it's too boozy for her, but you prefer the gin one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to try this one too.
That one's spicier.
That I love. So this one, the bourbon provides the sweetness in there. I thought it was going to come from the ginger beer, but the bourbon provides the sweetness. It also tones down the, for lack of a better term, the acidity or the sharpness in the ginger beer. You get all these flavors. Flavors playing with each other, and the orange bitters I feel like really helps the other citrus in this. That's really good. I have my moments. So there are variations on these mules. I've even done them. I was experimenting. Don't judge me, but I like to experiment with savory cocktails as well. I have done ginger beer before. I kid you not. I have put. I made like a sriracha vodka, and I put teriyaki sauce in there. It was not amazing. What it ended up tasting like was a delicious marinade for chicken, but was not awesome. But the idea is to get these flavors in there. You could do, if you did lemongrass and mint, if you did one I'm going to put on mine, I call the Matterhorn Mule, and that's going to be gin and absinthe. Or if you're gutsy enough, just do the absinthe. Feel free to play with any of these ingredients that are going to pair well with ginger, because that's the flavor that kicks like a mule in this product. Don't be afraid to mix and match. Hey, if there's alcohols that you guys have in your pantry that you're not a huge fan of, put it in a mule. Maybe you'll like it.
Pickle juice?
I haven't tried pickle juice in there before, but I'm not opposed to it. I pretty much like anything savory, but you'll just have to be careful when you mix these flavors. I love a savory cocktail like anybody else, but just be sure that you're not going to do this and it's going to taste more like a marinade than it would like a cocktail. Other questions for people today?
I would like to know what aromatic bitters. That's not very descriptive of a flavor.
Okay, so that's a great question. So a lot of people talk about what the flavors are in aromatic bitters. So I mean, the first ingredient is an ingredient a lot of people don't know, the bittering agent, which is gentian, which I believe is actually throughout all of these bitters. But what they're going to do, that gentian is going to bitter the spirit that actually goes into the liquid that's in here. Then they add an intense amount of whatever flavors are going to be in there. In the case of aromatic bitters, they originated in Trinidad and Tobago, and they would put things like cinnamon, clove, star anise, the usual suspects. What they call pimento, we call allspice. So those flavors are going to be infused inside here. So it's going to give a real strong herbal note and that bitter component. We used to do a drink at the bar with orgeat, which is basically almond simple syrup, but we would do a full ounce of bitters. It was called a Trinidad sour. So it would be lemon juice, orgeat, and a full ounce of bitters. And I can't remember if I think we put another booze in there. Maybe we put vodka in there, but really the focus was the bitters. And it was an expensive drinks because when you're talking about, drops at a time, when you do an ounce in there, it's boozy and expensive. But some people swore by those. It's because we're now just rediscovering bitter as a flavor profile. So the Hella bitters are available on Spirits and Spice.
I'll put links.
We'll provide links in the below. The Spirits and Spice Winter Wheat and Apple Vodka. The Piedmont Gin, which is the big hit for the day, especially since Leslie liked it. And the drinks from the bottle American Bourbon.
Maybe where are our stores located?
So if you want to go to our storefront and try these products, bear in mind that no matter which ones you go to, you have to wear a mask right now. I mean, we have open container in there. But they're in Jackson, Wyoming. We have one at the Venetian in the shops at the Grand Canal in Las Vegas. We have one in Tlaquepaque Park, which is fun to say, in Sedona, Arizona. And on October 10th, we'll cross our fingers, we're opening Water Tower Place in Chicago, in downtown Chicago. So thanks, everybody. Much appreciated. Stay classy. Stay sassy.